Okay, so hello. Um, Today is a very special day to me. It's the day that I surrendered my life to Jesus 4 years ago. Um, he's literally changed my whole entire life, and so I'm gonna kind of give a backstory, testimony, to let you know a little bit about what he did for me. Um, so let's see. I knew Jesus, um, about Jesus or whatever my whole life. Um, when I was a kid, my grandparents would take me to church. You know, I would go to Sunday school. My parents would drop me off like some Sundays. And but they really didn't go very much. But anyway, so like I knew a little bit of about faith and Jesus, but and my grandparents would talk about it and stuff like that. But I really didn't live for him. I, at a young age, I was kind of abandoned and, abused by people that I trusted and loved, and you know, it was hard for me, I guess, for a little bit, and I came to a time, in my life that I ended up rebelling, thinking that, I was rebelling against my parents and against the law or whatever, not following rules, not realizing that my disobedience was actually more so on God. I had no idea. And anyway, so I fell off a really deep edge, I guess. I ended up, skipping school a lot, dropping out. I was doing drugs, and I was an alcoholic, and, I really didn't have anything much to do with my family just because I felt, I don't know, I just felt out of place, and like I wasn't wanted, I wasn't loved, and I didn't belong. So I ended up, just doing my own thing, and, I really didn't care about myself. I, I really, honestly, like every day would try to do anything it took to OD, but I couldn't. I, ended up feeling like God might have a plan for me or something because I just can't die. Because I had no reason to live. I did not care about myself. I didn't care about life whatsoever. I had no purpose. I had no drive, really. And then one day I ended up finding out I was dating my ex husband, and I had, kind of gotten a little bit soberish. And anyways, I was praying for God to get me a way out of that. I was in Alabama, and I was like, Lord, this is we'd only been dating like for several months, and I, had moved there just to be with him when he was in the army or whatever, and it was really bad. We just were very toxic from the very beginning, and anyway, so I was praying. I was like, Lord, I was like, I want out of this. Like, just give me a sign or whatever. I would pray to God. Like, I really didn't know anything about him, but I trusted him. That was all I knew. Like, I had nobody else to talk to, or nobody else to that never betrayed me, I guess. So I would just talk to God whenever I needed help. And so I was just like, Lord, give me a sign, if I'm supposed to be here or not. And I was planning on just leaving, and I probably would have went right back to drugs and harder than I was already. And so I ended up a week later finding out I was pregnant with my daughter, my firstborn. And so I was like, well, I guess that's your sign. Now I have a purpose. And my whole life I always wanted to be a mom. I wanted to give my kids, the life that I always wanted, and to love the way that I knew that I should be loved. And so whenever I found out I was pregnant, I just wanted to be able to give her a life that she deserved. And so, I was a dropout. I didn't even have a license or anything. So I went back to get my GED, and then I ended up enrolling in college, and got my driver's license and everything like that. And I had a purpose now. Now I'm a mom. Like, I had I had a purpose and something to live for, because, I had no reason before that. Well, me and my ex, like I said from the very beginning, it was toxic. I ended up staying in school, having 2 other children, and they were my whole life. And then, it got to the point to where it was so toxic, and I really never wanted to be a single mom, because I just, it really broke my heart for myself, for what I had to go through as a child, with parents like back and forth, there was abuse and stuff like that, and that was super toxic, and I just never wanted that for myself. So I just didn't want to give that to my daughter, but it already had happened, and I was just like, I remember one day, it was like, 5 years later or something, or maybe 6 years later, and I was just thinking, like, I never wanted to be in a broken home. I don't want to be in a broken home. And I just heard, like, it's already broken. It's so toxic, and because we just fought a lot, and like, it was emotionally, physically, mentally, and around the children, it just wasn't right. And so anyways, I kind of got it in my heart, like, that it was okay, because it was toxic. There was betrayal. So, I just pretty much figured that it was done. So it was a different point for me anyways. So I started trying to plan somewhere to go. I had a bachelor's in psychology. I had 2 years experience in corrections. I had money saved up and stuff like that, and I was like, I can start a new life with my kids by myself. And and I asked the kids, do you want to build a sandcastle or a snowman? And because I was thinking about going to the beach, or going to somewhere where it snows. And they said that they wanted to build a snow or a sandcastle. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not making this decision. They are, and they've limited it because it has to be on the coast. And so I ended up that May, actually, I ended up going to the coast, and I was looking for a place for us to live and stuff like that. And I could not find a job for anything. I had the money and everything to start a new life for us, and I was just trying to get in a house and nobody would approve me because I couldn't find a job in North Carolina. So anyways, you know, I had left everything in West Virginia and, coming here to North Carolina, and I didn't want to end up failing, and end up having to go back, and then, my family be like, oh, I told you so, you can't do that, and they might not have done that, but that's just what was playing in my head, and I didn't want to be a failure. So I just tried my best, and I just was like putting every foot forward to try to do it, and I ended up finding this really rundown 2-bedroom trailer in the paper, on Craigslist, and it was like $500 deposit, 500 rent, first month rent's free, second month is half off, and I'm like, wow, that's insane. And all I had left, actually, because I was drinking and doing, I was just kind of like, I kind of fell off of a deep end at that point too, and alcohol was my biggest vice. So I ended up finding this. I went to this trailer, talked to the landlord, and I was telling him my story. Like, I just moved here and I couldn't find a job, and like, all I had actually was $250 to my name. And he was like, well, if you can come up with the other half, you can have it. And I was like, okay. And I ended up getting my brother. I was like, let's start a new life together. You can help me with the kids, and you can work and I can work, and we can help each other. I'm starting my life over. You can start yours over, because he went through his own story. And anyway, so he ended up coming, and we got this trailer, and I couldn't find a job or anything. I couldn't do anything, and I got a job at Waffle House, and I was making like $80 a week, and I was about to lose my car and everything. So then I ended up dancing, and I ended up doing that, and I fell in love with money, because money became very easy. It got to the point to where I was making so much money that I was able to get, a house that I wanted to get, and I was driving, an expensive vehicle, and I had built this lifestyle that I couldn't afford, honestly, unless I did this job. So I was just stuck in it. And I was able to give my kids that life that I always wanted them to have, because I could afford it now. But I was living a double life, because part of me was this mom trying to do good by her kids, and then part of me was this alcoholic and super depressed, and my anxiety was sky high, and I just was just a broken person. I was so broken. I was battling with addiction. I was battling just a lot of different demons. I was trying to go to church every once in a while. I try to talk, strengthen my faith and stuff like that every once in a while, or as much as I could, but the devil kept grabbing a hold of me and pulling me deeper into my anxiety and my depression, and I would just sleep all the time and just work, and then on my days off I would feel guilty and take the kids to do something lavish, spend every penny that I had just to do something for them or buy them things, and it was just, I was so just ashamed of myself. I hated what I was doing, but I couldn't get out of it. I hated like being out in public because it was like I could feel people staring at me and like just saying how disgusting I was. Um, and I just hated myself, and I got to the point to where um, I ended up like the enemy started telling me, like in my mind I was telling myself, like, before my kids were my purpose, and now I started telling myself, and it was the devil, um, you your kids would be better if you were dead. And so it got to the point to where I was like, I don't even deserve my kids. Like, um, you know, I just felt like this, um, just burden on my whole, like on my kid's life and everything. Like, and I was like ready to give up. And I was like, I don't have a purpose anymore. And I was ready. Like, I honestly didn't want to live anymore. And it was like the enemy was just fighting me every single day. I was taking um, anxiety medicine, and I was abusing it. And I mean, to the point to where it was like antipsychotics and stuff like that. They were trying to put me on. Like, they kept putting me on different medicines, and then it would make me suicidal too. And I was already that way, but like, it was just the point I didn't want to I didn't want to take anything. And but I just was like in this revolving door, and I just wouldn't stop. And of just depression and anxiety and just misery. And so I just started praying, and I'm like, God, if you're there, like, I need you. Like, I don't know what to do anymore. And because I'm tired, like, I don't want to live anymore, and I'm just done. And so, I don't, eventually, like, I just started seeing him in things, and I would start seeing him in, like, the sunset or the sunrise, or just different things. And then, but one day, and this goes to the beginning, of when I surrendered, but it was May 18th, and I was in my bathroom, and I was just like scrolling on Facebook, and I was just, doing my normal thing. I was about to go get ready for work or whatever, and I was scrolling, and this building popped up, and I heard, "What can you do with this?" And I just stopped, and I was just like, that wasn't me. Like, I would never think that. And I'm just like, is that you, God? And like, what would I even do? Like, I'm not good at anything. Like, I would love to strengthen my faith and have Bible study and stuff like that. And I was like, but that wouldn't keep the doors open. I'm like, what can I do to bring people in? People that wouldn't feel comfortable going to church. And I was like, what is everyone like? I was like, everyone loves coffee. I was like, all right, God, if that's your will, let it be done. And that was it. Like a 1-minute conversation with maybe God, but I wanted it to 100% to be God. But I had already smoked a cigarette, I'd already taken a pill, and I was just like, I might as well finish the day sinning. So I just went, did my normal routine, got ready for work, went to work. And whenever I got to the club, God had he unveiled my eyes to a point to where I was seeing the spiritual realm, and I was scared to death. Like, I could see demons and spirits and just demonic activity and everything, and I was just so ready to leave. And like, but a friend of mine, she's like, just wait until you get your money, and then you can go. Because I had told her, I was like, I want to give my life to the Lord. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. And I had said that in the past, but I never was strong enough, I guess. I don't know. I just couldn't do it. And so anyways, I was pretty scared that night. And then by the end of the night, I left, eventually it was the craziest experience, actually, that was demonic, leaving there. But anyways, whenever I left, I just surrendered my life to the Lord. I knew, my cigarettes were empty. Like, normally I would have just went and bought a pack of cigarettes, but I was like, no, God, like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this life anymore. I need you to take my addictions. I need you to take, my cravings. I need you to take everything, and I don't want it anymore, and I'm going to give you my whole life. You are all I want. And I, like, in my car driving, that's what I did, and I surrendered my heart and my life to the Lord. And the next morning, I woke up and I had no cravings whatsoever. I didn't want a cigarette, and that was, normally first thing as a smoker, the first thing you do when you wake up is smoke a cigarette, and I had no cravings. I was in my bed for, like 2 weeks with withdrawals and stuff like that, and thankfully my husband now, he helped take care of me and the kids while I was dealing with that. But I ended up, from that day, the day before God gave me that vision to open up, to do something with that building. And it took me like a month of prayer, and I ended up, the space beside the one that had opened up became vacant, and I knew that was the place that I was supposed to be. I had a piece of my heart, and I ended up renting the space, and it took me 3 months to open the coffee shop. And and ever since then, I've just, like, from that day when I surrendered, I just have given every bit of my life to the Lord, just doing everything that I can for him, because he never gave up on me. He never gave up on me. Like, when I gave up on myself, when everyone had given up on me, he never once did. And he gave me a reason to try. He gave me a purpose. One that I would have never thought, like, I would be in the club and I would look in the mirror and, I would wear my cross necklace, and, people would be like, you're gonna wear that in here, and, I did, but, the enemy would just, I would look at myself, and I could hear the devil, and he'd be like, look at you, like, you think Jesus loves you, and I would literally have to battle myself, like, every night, listening to the enemy lie to me about myself, like, all the time, and, but I just kept telling myself, like, Jesus loved Mary, and I'm like, Jesus loved Mary, he can love me, and I just, I clung to that, because, I didn't know what else to do, but he never, ever gave up on me, no matter what, and I just, I'm sharing this because I just hope to help someone to know that no matter how far you think you've gone, no matter what you may have done, no matter what path you've taken, Jesus is still there. He's there with you no matter what, and he's just waiting for you to open that door, to let him in. I mean, if you call on him, I've called on him doing the most stupidest stuff, and he was there. I'd be doing something really stupid, and I'm like, God, I need you to help me, and he would get me out of a situation when I didn't deserve it. But he showed up, and he will show up, and we just have to want him, and no matter how betrayed or how hurt you've been, he will never ever do anything to harm you. He wants us to come to him. That's it. He doesn't send us to hell. Like, we choose the life that we want to live. And it's either with him or it's without him, and with him, he is what is good, and he is what is real. He's the truth, and he's the way, and there's no other way but through him. And if we make the choice to not take that path, then that's on us. And he's literally there at every beacon moment waiting for us to open that door to him. And all we have to do is just say, all right, I accept you. Like, help me to see you. Let me know who you are. And just build a relationship with him. Get into the word. That's his word. I mean, it's literally who he is. And, pretty much our instruction manual. And sometimes it might sound crazy, but we aren't the creator of the world. So we don't really have much, a lot to say about that. I mean, we just live here. But, I just wanted to share that because he did something big for me, changed my life, gave me a purpose, saved me from myself, and I'm just so thankful for that. And I just pray that my testimony can maybe help someone else, and just know that he loves you. And I just thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I'm sorry if it is awkward. I don't know. I'm a little awkward on this thing, but I just appreciate you watching this, and I pray that you come to